So you've mentioned volume several times in this discussion. And is that one of the main things you need to educate clients and customers about? Is like stop thinking about just square footages. Think about volume.
Well, so I use the term because there's panelization. So in essence, locally our slang term is flat packing a house. Is a factory builds the walls and does the framing and delivers it in a flat pack, flatly packed on a flatbed truck, and now a framing crew assembles it on site. What we do is we deliver it volumetric, so it's in a box. It's already assembled with everything in, and I tell people, I'll go to a dinner and I'll be sitting beside a division president of a major home builder. And, over the years, I've kind of felt like the redheaded stepchild of the industry is, in the construction industry because, oh, you're the modular guy. And so when they ask me at the dinner, what do you do? And I say, well, I use modular construction and produce homes. I kind of get that look like, okay. And then they start questioning me about it because they've heard about it and they want to learn. But they always say, one of the things they always say is, well, how can you ship all that air? How can you cost effectively ship that air? And so, my response is, but it's finished air. And they kind of give me that look like, what do you mean? And what they got to understand is I'm delivering the labor with the material. So what did it take to install that toilet? What did it take to install that floor? I just didn't deliver flooring to the site, and now they've got to schedule it, get the subcontractor, and they've got to coordinate all of that. I delivered the labor and the product inside of that volumetric box, so it's completely formed, and I delivered it. So there is a difference in the offsite construction world between panelization, which means you install it and still have to finish everything on site, and volumetric, which means it's pick a number 65, 75, 85% done from the factory.
So when it comes to building our own house, if we were to do that, would you be opposed to building modularly?
I think it's an excellent design constraint. It's not just a plot of land with the pad. It's like, hey, I want you to think in terms of dimensions.
That was one thing I wanted to mention, was the fact that you can automate as much as possible with this prefabrication, doing it on in a factory and everything, but there is still on-site work that has to happen. You'll never get away from that pouring that slab and making sure your pad's level and things like that. There's always some form of on-site work, and they have to connect the modules together, and that has to be done. It has to be done well so that you don't have any leaks or anything like that.
We just watched a show last night on exactly what we're talking about. They poured the slab on site, and then they had these prefab panels coming from Poland all the way to the United Kingdom. And then they used this unique strapping mechanism to attach the wall to the slab. And they had a little capsule of resin that they put in the concrete, and then they broke the capsule with a screw, and that hardened the resin and kept the wall in place. Oh, it's fascinating.
It requires, I guess Ken said this as well, but it requires a new way of thinking. And that was really nice to hear him talk about. Plumbers have to think differently. Electricians have to think differently. Everyone has to sort of change their mindset and understand how modular construction works. So when you say there's these constraints to modular construction, I see it as an opportunity to create something new.
Exactly. We've been doing the same thing for so long. Why not do something just a little bit different? It's not a big deal to just alter the way you think or the way you build if it's going to be better.
And the house can still look the same.